The new song?
No, but you know.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
What's so great about it?
It's so.
Or Malice.
To keep it a buck, I'm gonna go with Pusha T. So we not going.
Make some noise for the Clipse. Mr. Genesis.
Now hold on. DC. Make some noise for the Clipse, y'all.
Jim Jones really woke up one day and chose chaos, coming straight at not one, not two, but three hip-hop giants, Nas, Pusha T, and No Malice. Like, who does that? The man aimed straight for the throne and is now learning the hard way that not every fight is worth starting, especially when it's with legends who helped shape the game. What Jim thought was just him speaking his mind turned into a ticking time bomb, and it blew up in his face. Now, everyone in the industry is watching this unfold like a slow-motion car crash. That so-called harmless opinion ended up triggering one of the coldest comebacks hip-hop has seen in years. People suddenly realized what Jim had really done. The man didn't just talk smack. He might have actually resurrected Clipse without even meaning to. All of this started when Jim casually claimed Nas wasn't relevant anymore. Yep, he really said that. And that little comment? It spiraled into a lyrical shootout that exploded all the way to the front row of Paris Fashion Week, with Pharrell, Beyoncé, and Jay-Z sitting front and center, watching it unfold like a high-stakes drama. And guess who's smack in the middle of the mess? Jim Jones, the same guy who said Pusha T's music never meant anything to him, is now the main event in Clipse's big comeback. You could practically hear Harlem hit pause when Jim boldly dropped, "This son, they know about Nah." My son. He didn't just take a jab, he went for the soul. He dragged Nas' entire legacy to the table, called it forgettable, and acted like the culture wouldn't miss a thing. And here's the kicker. That wasn't even the most outrageous thing he said that week.
Can you sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now? His records.
Yes.
His records?
Yeah.
Name
I
them.
love Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan.
If
He's
you
like,
know, you know.
I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records. Pusha T, I love your soul, my dog. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that,
Pusha top
but
50.
you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought, like you dig, like, where I'm from, I just want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things
Wayne
like that.
wanted to be
like
Pusha? Yeah. He was influenced by Pusha?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. Yeah. But what else has he bring to the game? Did he make people want to dress like him? Did he have some slang that everybody was talking like him? There'll be the girls, all the girls wanted to do him. Like, what is you did?
Jim didn't make one bold comment and bounce. Nah, he laughed about it, stood on it, then hit every platform he could to double and triple down. From The Breakfast Club, to Bag Fuel, to Shannon Sharp's Nightcap, even random street interviews and live streams, he just kept pouring gasoline on the fire. At one point, Jim tried to clean it up by saying he was just being honest as a fan when he took shots at Nas. But then he took it even further on Bag Fuel. He didn't just diss Nas. He actually tried to flip the whole situation, claiming he's the reason Nas started trending again. According to Jim, no one had been talking about Nas like this in years, not since the Ether era. He really sat there and said, "This viral at all, ever. Like he really believed he brought Nas back into the spotlight. But here's the crazy part. Jim clearly had no idea who he was messing with. Nas doesn't bark back in interviews or throw tantrums online. He plays chess, not checkers. This man moves silently with billionaires, signs major real estate deals, and shows you where real power is, without even saying a word. While Jim was out here throwing shade for clicks, Nas was busy stacking legacy moves. Instead of clapping back, he laid the foundation for one of the biggest cultural projects Queens has ever seen. And when Nas finally made a move, it was colder than ice. He hit Instagram and casually dropped an ad for a $5 billion casino investment in Queens. He didn't have to mention Jim's name. He just posted, "Time to invest in us." That was the quietest, richest flex you could imagine. Nas basically said, "I'm way too wealthy for this kind of drama."
The future is not something you wait for, it's something you build. It lives in the hands of the doers, the dreamers, the people who refuse to stand still. Resorts World is more than a casino. It's energy, it's opportunity, it's hope for the borough. A second chance for some, a first step for many. It's where community gathers, not just to win, but to build a future once imagined. This isn't just business, this is legacy. And now, it's time to invest.
And if Jim had just stopped there, maybe things would have cooled off. But nope. He pushed it even further and decided to poke the wrong bear, Pusha T. He actually said Pusha's not even top 50. He dragged him down like his catalog was nothing, acting like Pusha hasn't been spitting heat for decades. What Jim didn't realize? This time, it wasn't just Pusha T tuning in. No Malice was listening too. And now everyone's asking the same wild question. Did Jim accidentally reunite Clipse with just one reckless comment? Let's rewind a little, because Clipse didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They'd been quiet, real quiet, for almost 15 years. But here's the twist. Long before Jim started running his mouth, Pusha had already been planting seeds. In a Rolling Stone interview, he dropped a subtle warning. He wanted Clipse back in motion. He said, "I'm like, yo, listen to what I just made. We can really do this." But his brother brushed it off. Pusha even admitted, "If I had it my way, it would be the Clipse. It's really up to my brother." And then, boom, Jim Jones came through with the perfect excuse to light the match. The reunion buzz started way before the smoke hit social media. Back in 2022, at Pharrell's Something in the Water Festival in Virginia Beach, Clipse hit the stage and snapped, reminding everybody who they were. Then came another surprise at Chicago's Hyde Park Summerfest, where the brothers rocked the crowd with joints from Lord Willin and Hell Hath No Fury. And no Malice? He didn't look like he was just doing a guest set. He looked ready to go again. But what happened after really set the tone? Clipse showed up in Paris, arm in arm with Pharrell, walking the Louis Vuitton runway like straight royalty. Pharrell had just stepped in as Louis Vuitton's new men's creative director, and he brought the brothers back in style. Front row, none other than Jay-Z and Beyoncé, locked in and vibing. And right in the middle of that iconic fashion show, a brand new Clipse track dropped through the speakers. That wasn't just a comeback. It was a cultural reset. No question about it. This was war. The track was raw, sharp, and aimed straight at one man, Jim Jones. Pusha T didn't dance around it. He looked straight at Jim, no masks, no metaphors. And this wasn't just a diss track. It was art. A lyrical hit piece wrapped in poetry, unveiled at Paris Fashion Week in front of the most powerful names in music, fashion, and culture. And right behind it all, Pharrell. Fans didn't need long to put the puzzle together. Was this Pharrell's silent revenge? A calculated power move from LV's new kingpin, straight from the 55 office, to check Jim for all the slick talk and side-eyes over the years? Highly possible. Especially when you remember Jim had been hyping up Drake as the GOAT in interview after interview, clearly planting his flag on the other side of the battlefield. In a sit-down with Complex, Jim made it crystal clear where he stood. And just like that, Clipse returned. Not with a press tour, not with a club banger, but with a surgical revenge track. Dropped in the middle of Paris Fashion Week. The timing, too perfect. The message, unmistakable. Jim thought he was just doing the usual talk show circuit, but turns out Pusha and No Malice were playing chess behind the scenes, and he was the pawn. So now everybody's asking, did Jim just hand No Malice the most epic comeback moment in rap history? Or did he accidentally script his own downfall? Because here's the kicker. Clipse haven't even dropped the full album yet, and damage is already being done.
At all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
You did. The last time he was in some like this where people were comparing when him and Jay was beating on him.
say that.
You heard? You did? Like, and I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the
Have you spoken
semantics
to
of
Nas
it.
since the whole thing?
Nas.
Okay.
Huh? I don't know Nas to have a conversation with him. You don't have a conversation, we can have that too and shit like that. You dig? Like, I don't really care.
One thing I
about
did see you do, I've seen you do this in Say Less, I've seen you do this in the studio.
And let's not forget the mastermind pulling strings in the shadows, Pharrell. This isn't just a producer. Pharrell is family to Clipse. He's the architect of their entire sound, the one who helped shape their identity. So when Jim went on record dismissing Clipse, mocking their catalog, and calling them irrelevant, he wasn't just talking slick about Pusha. He disrespected an entire legacy. Let's keep it real. No Malice had been off the grid for over a decade. He was the calm one, the big brother who left the rap game behind, found faith, and chose peace while Pusha T stayed in the heat of the trenches. Over and over again, No Malice made it clear. He had no plans to rap again. He'd moved on. Or so we thought. So when his voice came booming through the speakers at the Paris Louis Vuitton show, it wasn't just a surprise. It was chilling. That wasn't just a feature. It was a statement. And we need to break this down because No Malice wasn't tossing out random bars for attention. He came with layers, and every line was coded with intent. Bird talk, we all parrots. That wasn't just wordplay, that was a body shot. He clowned Jim's whole brand, the Bird Gang, his image, his entire identity. And when he name-dropped Paris and Dallas, that wasn't random either. Those were exactly the same cities Jim had mentioned just days earlier in his freestyle over the Chains and Whips beat. So nah, No Malice wasn't just replying, he was paying attention, and fans started to catch on. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a mission. No Malice didn't sound rusty, he sounded ready. It was like he'd been waiting for the right reason to return. And Jim? He gave him the green light. Instead of backing down, Jim tried to play it cool. He posted a clip of himself laughing off Pusha's Paris verse on Instagram like it didn't bother him. But the mask slipped on Drink Champs. When NORE brought up the Clipse diss, Jim's energy changed. He flinched, just for a second, but it was enough for everyone to see. That line hit home. That's when Jim jumped in the booth and dropped his Chains and Whips freestyle, a direct response, using the same beat Clipse used to smoke him in Paris. It was clear now, Jim wasn't just defending his name, he was trying to stop the bleeding. Ask ChatGPT. Then came the BET Awards, and another chance for Jim to save face. Bootleg Kev sat him down for a quick chat, and Jim did what he always does, played it cool. But when the topic shifted to Clipse's new single, Ace Trumpets, Jim snapped. He didn't hold back one bit. He tried to clown the track like Clipse was just riding nostalgia, said the bars were mid at best. But instead of sounding like a confident vet, Jim came off like someone barely holding it together on camera. Because what do you do when the same people you shaded start leveling up? You either fall back with grace, or double down and crash out. And Jim? He went all in on the self-destruction. Just when you thought he couldn't dig the hole any deeper, he brought out another shovel and went straight back to his favorite punching bag, Nas. On Nightcap with Shannon Sharp, Jim launched into another rant, claiming Nas was never all that influential. He even said Nas was always second best to Jay-Z and DMX. Then, with a dead serious face, he dropped this gem. That's like saying Jordan fell off after Space Jam. What? That's not confidence. That's straight up delusion. But while Jim was still chasing clout in interviews, Clipse was out here moving in silence. The duo unveiled the full rollout for their long-awaited reunion album, Let God Sort 'Em Out. And if you thought Chains and Whips was the peak? Nah, that was just the teaser. This album was a full-blown power move, stacked with features from Nas, Kendrick Lamar, Tyler, The Creator, The Dream, John Legend, and executive production by, you guessed it, Pharrell. But here's the twist that flipped the whole game. The album was originally set to drop through Def Jam. That is, until Def Jam allegedly tried to censor Kendrick's verse. Word on the street? That verse had slick shots at Drake, Travis Scott, and the whole phony industry machine. Clipse said nope. They pulled out of the deal immediately and took the project to Rock Nation. That move alone told us everything. Clipse wasn't coming back as old school legends. They came back as bosses. And when Jim had the nerve to ask, who even rocks with Pusha like that? Clipse answered with this, a fully loaded rollout, backed by icons, and zero room left for debate. The shift didn't happen overnight, but it's real. Jim isn't just getting dissed anymore. He's being left out. Not blackballed, but quietly benched. And for someone who built his whole brand on loyalty, noise, and street presence, that kind of silence cuts deeper than bars ever could. So when that Clipse and Nas track finally drops, it's not just gonna be a diss. It's gonna feel like a funeral for Jim's relevance in the game. He can keep rapping, keep trolling, keep acting like it's all jokes. But behind the scenes, tours are being locked in, visuals are getting shot, major moves are being made, and none of it includes him. So the real question now isn't, will Jim clap back? It's, will anyone still care if he does? He wanted to go viral. Now he's just ghosted, and might have accidentally canceled himself right out of hip-hop history. Make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let us know where you stand in this wild saga, and we'll see you in the next one.